Welcome, Wrestle Buddies. It is yours truly, the King, and I am joined today for the WWE Extreme Rules Prediction Show, pay-per-view, premium live event, whichever you may call it. And I'm joined by Nick and Tyler. How are you guys doing on this glorious day?
Well, it's a gloomy grey evening here now, so I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's a rainy day here, too.
Rain here as well, but I'm just trying to make the best of it. Anyways, we're just going to jump right into the show. If you haven't watched one of these before, we're going to try and predict the card for Extreme Rules. Just have a little bit of fun, a little bit of fantasy booking, since we like to do that so much. And in case you didn't know, watch Buddy Wars and you'll see how much we enjoy it. What up, what up, what up? Good to see you, bud. Good to see you. So far, we'll just get the one match out of the way. It's already been announced. It happened last night on Smackdown, in case you didn't notice. Ronda Rousey won an elimination match with Lacey Evans, Natalia. I can't remember who was even all in it, to be honest with you. But Ronda Rousey won. I think it was pretty obvious from the get-go. Mm-hmm. And now she will take on Liv Morgan at Extreme Rules, the rematch. Since we already know this match is happening, we can just touch on how we think this match is going to go. Do either one of you guys see Liv walking out of Extreme Rules with the title here?
No.
I don't. I mean, if you want to be logical, I mean, Rhonda should kill her. I mean, it should be a massacre. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get Shayna to come out.
Remember a few weeks ago, Jimmy, I said that my prediction for SummerSlam was that Rhonda was just going to walk out, beat the living piss out of there. Well, they obviously saved it for this match.
Well, technically, Rhonda did just walk out and beat the piss.
Yeah, Rhonda did
that's true.
Then again, Liv got lucky again at the last show against Shayna Baszler. Yeah. So the luck, I think we could see the luck continue here. An interesting note to add to this, though, is after the match, Rhonda was backstage. She was approached by Shayna Baszler, who then made the notion that they should start teaming together so that they could run the division again. I don't think that's ever happened, but I think that's a team up that I think a lot of people have been wanting to see, and I think it would be great for Rhonda in this position. I love Rhonda away from the title scene, and from what she said, she does too. So I would like to get there again. Do either one of you guys see Shayna playing a part in this match in which it could eventually cost Rhonda? Because Rhonda doesn't need help. If she's helping Rhonda, it's dumb.
Yeah.
But costing Rhonda. Do you think? Okay.
Yeah, I could see this happening just simply because I would love to see a Shayna and Rhonda feud. It would be fantastic. They're both exceptionally hard-hitting. They both have a very similar but different style at the same time. And kind of makes sense from a jealousy standpoint on Shayna's part.
No, it does. I have to agree with Nick because going back to that segment where Rhonda was reminding Shayna of who she was, and I think that could come into play. You could still tie that in. So I see her costing. I'm with you. It doesn't make sense to interfere because knowing she is Ronda Rousey and it is Liv Morgan, with all due respect. But how many times are we going to have Liv be able to overcome the odds? Eventually, it's got to be booked to where, hey, this is really how it's going to go down.
I'm with you 100%. I don't like that booking at all. And every time I'm like, I just don't get the appeal. I don't get why she's champion. But then she comes out, she gets a crazy reaction, and I'm reminded I'm not the lone person here. There are a lot of people out there who do like her. So I guess you got to ride that while you can, because once it's gone, it's gone. I don't think Liv is a person that's going to stick around the main event scene past this title run. I haven't seen anything that makes me think she will. So ride the momentum while they can and go with it. That's how I would do it. But we've touched on that one enough. We can go on to the next part of this prediction show. That one's a given. We all agree that there's 3 matches that are pretty much a given. Mm-hmm. So we'll just touch on those real quick before we go in and start talking about the matches we think could happen. First one up, Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross. I think it's very clear that match is going to be happening. Do you guys see this being the main event possibly?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think there's a very good chance this match gets made the main event. If Roman's not going to be there, Drew is still, even after his loss, he's the biggest babyface in the company. They're trying to push Cross as this unstoppable monster, put him in the main event slot. Give him the chance to shine and show what he can actually do.
Yeah.
I think so as well. You've got to your point, Karrion Kross, you're getting him over. He's returned after taking that sabbatical after being released, and I'm with you guys. Drew McIntyre is still that main event guy. He's on a whole nother level, and without Roman, without some of those integral parts, you've got to have that formula. So I think it makes sense. And here's a probably unpopular opinion. I know Drew took the loss, but does he take it again because you are building up Karrion Kross? That's just a question I'm going to throw out there. It's interesting.
I think that if you're trying to build Karrion Kross as this next main event guy for you that can step up when Roman eventually takes the hiatus or whatever, I think you have to have Karrion Kross go over here. That's me. I think Drew's at a point now where he's kind of untouchable, and Seth Rollins, he's in the same realm as Seth Rollins. He can lose, and it's not going to make you think, oh, well, Drew's never going to win again. So I think Karrion Kross not only will go over here, I think he has to go over here. So
I'd agree. I mean, the simple fact is Drew, just like Seth, as you say, he's very good at looking strong in defeat. He loses, but it doesn't hurt him. Like Seth's eaten how many pins this year, and it didn't really hurt him at all. Yeah. It's the same thing with Drew, and you have to push Kross. Otherwise, what's the point of the angle you've been giving him so far if he's going to fall at the first hurdle?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt him.
He can't reset the timeline if he's not winning anything. So
exactly.
Yeah, and Drew's so established. I mean, like what you guys were talking about. I know we're agreeing a lot, but it's hard not to. It's pretty clear and dry to me why you would do it.
So I'll go from that match. Like I said, I think everyone's in agreement. Even the people watching, that match is definitely taking place. I'll go ahead and touch on the next one that I think could main event that we all agree on will probably be happening is Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle. Do you think there is any possibility that this match takes the main event over Kross and Drew McIntyre? These are the first two, Tidy. We just talked about Liv and Rhonda first, so you're caught up.
I would rather see Seth and Riddle main event because I think it will be a better match.
And storyline.
Yeah. All in all, I think it'll be a better job. I don't think Riddle's really been able to shine yet. Like he got a damn good bit in their match at Clash of the Castle. It was a great match, but I don't think that was his time to shine. That was more Seth's. That's why Seth went for the Phoenix Splash. That's why Seth went for everything under the sun. I think this match is going to be Riddle's chance to finally show what Riddle can do in the ring. And if they have an Extreme Rules stipulation where they don't have to worry about getting disqualified, I think they can push it even further. And Riddle should really come across as the happy-go-lucky killer that he's supposed to have been all along.
The fiery babyface that we haven't really seen from him yet.
Exactly.
We've seen glimpses of it lately, but not like full on display.
Exactly. It keeps him elevated too, because Seth is the guy you want to work with, and I think it's interesting how wrestling works. That neither of these guys are big fans of each other. That's why the promos are so believable, but yet they put on some classic matches. So I think as long as you work within the parameters that the weapons you can tell a story with them without it getting too gimmicky, which I think these guys can. It'll come out looking great.
Okay, so just to kind of go back on last year's Extreme Rules, it wasn't a very Extreme Rules feeling pay-per-view because the only match that had that stipulation was the main event.
Yes.
Do you see them going down this? I believe Riddle and Seth Rollins is definitely a no disqualification street fight. Whatever they want to call Philadelphia brawl, whatever they want to call it here, it's definitely a no DQ match happening. Do you think they save it for just this match? And if so, I think that makes it the main event, hands down. Or do you think they open it up and be like, you know what? This is the pay-per-view. All matches should have the stipulation and kind of really push the creativity aspect of these matches as opposed to just looking for cheap pops with tables and chairs and ladders. Oh, my.
It's in Philly, right?
Yes, 100% it's in Philly. So
then in that case, with the Philly crowd, it would behoove WWE to have at least a couple of Extreme Rules matches on this card. be it whether they are, as you say, a street fight, a last man standing, an Extreme Rules match, a ladder match, tables match, whichever they decide to go for. I think it would behoove the company to have as many gimmick matches on this pay-per-view as humanly possible, because otherwise there is a good chance that the Philly crowd will just turn.
Yeah, very true.
So then I guess the question still, you think every match, if you had to pick one match or all the matches, what do you think Triple H leans more towards here?
All the matches.
All the matches.
I think Triple H does.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you look at his history of NXT takeovers, there's a lot of gimmick matches on those shows. Like, there's a lot of gimmick matches on those shows, be them ladder matches, triple threat ladder matches. He really did like his ladder matches in NXT. But I can see, like I say, at a minimum of 3 of these matches having some kind of gimmick.
Okay, we'll stick with the 3. I'm sorry to cut you off there, Tyler. I'll get you in a second.
You're fine.
3, and then we'll pick which 3 we think are going to get those stipulations based on the story element. This one, again, I think we're all in agreement. This is getting a stipulation. If not, it doesn't make sense to even have it.
It's got to.
No,
okay.
It has to.
But go ahead, Tyler. Sorry about that.
No, I was going to say, I think Drew and Karrion, no disqualification would definitely be good. It'd be interesting because, like you guys said, they could push the envelope a little bit. And with this storyline of Karrion want to come after, Drew and eventually the Roman Empire, because remember, he's teased that in tweets. So there's still a lot on the bone there for storylines. So I think it's going to be a great match between Drew and Karrion. And then if Scarlett's down there, like we think we do, that's also going to be another aspect about it.
All right, and then now we will move straight to the third match that we all agreed is more than likely going to happen. A Gunther versus Sheamus rematch for the Intercontinental title. I don't think anybody in their right mind is going to complain about this rematch happening. I will say, if we're only picking 3 stipulations, I don't want a stipulation involved with this one because the brutal violence that these guys can put upon each other without weapons and rule and like the restrictions of rules, that's just not needed. And we saw it at Clash at the Castle. So since we all agree this match is happening, we'll just touch on the possibility of Sheamus going over here and giving Gunther his first pinfall loss on the main roster. What is the likelihood of this happening?
60-40. I think it's a 60% chance Gunther goes over and a 40% chance Sheamus wins that title. I know the whole angle for Sheamus is it's the only belt he hasn't won. It's the only thing he hasn't won in WWE. It's the
Universal title.
Sorry, Universal title.
I had to throw it in there.
Although apparently that doesn't count. So, but if they are trying to build Gunther into the unstoppable monster that they want him to be, Gunther has to win.
Yeah.
Right? He needs to win again. They need to build him the same way they built him on NXT UK, as this unstoppable champion, this mountain, this final boss that nobody can overcome until one day, hopefully, Pete Dunne is the person that overcomes him. Pete Dunne, not Butch. Pete Dunne.
Butch.
And hopefully somebody wants. Don't. But hopefully someday someone will overcome the unstoppable final boss that is Gunther. But I don't think that's Sheamus.
Yeah, Gunther's, you got to keep the belt on him. He's just got so much momentum, and he's and I try to look at this, unbiasedly, but he's just so good. Yeah. I mean, he's just on a roll. Phenomenal. And that whole Imperium thing at Clash, what we were seeing, that was that gave me chills. I was like, okay, now we're getting some of that NXT feel on the main roster, but it's wonderful. And that to me is the whole package there. I mean, I could see those guys interfering like what a lot of your theories are, the brawling brutes, I think. But hey, I hope we do get Pete Dunne, Nick. I think we are starting to slowly, or maybe a Pete Dunne like Bush. Yeah, I mean that would be a match. Yeah.
My whole thing with Sheamus is I love Sheamus, and I think at this point we could start looking at him as probably the most underrated wrestler. You could put him on the list of most underrated in the history of wrestling at this point. I think.
Yeah.
I think he's proven that. over the last 2-3 years. But my whole thing with him beating Gunther is he a better Intercontinental Champion than Gunther is at this moment in time? And I just don't think he is. I do love that the crowd was extremely hot for a babyface Sheamus on the show. They were really into him, and I thought that was cool. But if Gunther is going to be built up as this next just top level heel, I'm a big believer in Karrion Kross, but I think Gunther has a much more likely chance of being a top main event heel that has lasting power. There's just an aura about Gunther.
When was the last time you saw a guy win a match with a different move every week?
Yeah, and that's
been a long time.
I noticed this at Clash where there's no method to his matches. If there's an opening to hurt you, he's going to do it. If it's a boot to the face, if it's a chop to the back of your head, if it's a scoop slam on the outside, they're all simple, but man, it just shows that I forgot to change my username. It shows that he's literally not there to do anything other than hurt you, and I think that's awesome. I think it's different right now for WWE, and you cannot take that away from Gunther. I think he needs to roll into WrestleMania without losing. That's how I've said since the beginning of it.
Yeah, and think about the transition. He did it so successfully, and fair or not, what helped him is he was able to survive and be someone Vince liked too, and Triple H. So that definitely was in his favor, and he's just flourished. But he's made the best out of taking the name change. At first, I was like, "Oh no, let's not do that," but he's got it over, man. So you can say what you want to, but that's one of the few that has really resonated.
And this is one of those musics where I do hope they bring it back, just because I went back and watched the debut of Walter in NXT UK when he came out and approached Pete Dunne, who is now Butch, a much better version. And just the debut with that music was so chilling to me. And it's part of the presentation, like we talked with Karrion Kross and his presentation. I think that music is just a part of the presentation of Gunther, and it's just it. I'm not even.
If you saw their entrance,
music. I'm not even hating on the music, but
no, his new music is good.
Yeah,
but if you saw the entrance on SmackDown, they are drip feeding the Imperium tune at the beginning, and then going into Gunther's music. I'm actually fine with that because it introduces the group at first, and then it's all about the ring general. So focus us on him. If they use the Imperium music for Ludwig and Giovanni, I'm fine with that.
That
use it for them as a trio. But when Gunther's in a singles match, it's about Gunther, so he gets his own music.
That makes sense.
Maybe a 3 type of hell match between. I wouldn't even be mad at seeing a 2 out of 3 falls match between the two of them. Honestly,
no, that'd be good.
I think that would actually be kind of cool. But again, I don't want to riddle the pay-per-view with stipulations just because. I want them to kind of make sense.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, a 2 out of 3 falls wouldn't be too gimmicky for Gunther and Sheamus.
It would come across as too gimmicky for the show, and there's no need for it. These two guys are just going to beat the piss out of each other. So,
you could do it without weapons.
Yeah, exactly. Gunther's chops are a weapon in themselves.
Yeah.
That's all you need, his hands.
Yeah. So with that's 4 matches. WWE likes to stay in the realm of 6 to 8 here lately. Most of the time. I think SummerSlam might have had one more than that. But they've definitely cut down on their matches lately, which I like. So we don't have much more room for other matches. We'll try and put together 5 more, though, just in case they feel froggy here. Is there any matches that either of you have in your head that we didn't discuss prior to coming on that you think have the possibility of happening, or that you want to just start trying to pick apart and see if we can find a way to get to a match, like with Judgment Day or anybody else like that, the Usos?
I would assume, if it hasn't already happened beforehand, that we will either get Edge or Ray versus Dominic in some kind of fashion. You'd think that's the direction they're heading in.
I think we'll know a clear vision of the Dominic and Edge thing after Monday, because they're supposed to wrestle each other. But Edge is also, I would hope, is selling an injury. So I don't know. This is a very tough one because there's so many pieces involved.
Yeah.
I'll throw one out of left field here just because. What do you think the possibility of there being a triple threat between Dom, Edge, and Ray, with Ray kind of starting to get hesitant with Edge or pushy with Edge because, like, hey, that's my son, take it easy. And then Edge kind of gets some pushback. And then this allows Dom to get a win. I would assume he gets the win here. He could essentially pin his dad and have a win over Edge at the same time, which would be
huge.
I think that could be a very fun way to go about this. But again,
I'd like to see that.
But again, it's such a wide open storyline that you don't really know where they're going.
It's tough.
As you say, there's a lot of moving pieces in that storyline. Judgment Day is still technically involved in that storyline. Is it going to be a straight up tag match between, say, Finn and Ray, Finn and Dom versus Ray and Thingy?
I think that's the obvious way to go about it. So I don't want to go there because they literally just did a tag match at Clash. So I would hope they went a different route here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It would present a new dynamic having a triple threat.
Exactly. And you kind of saw it a little bit with Ray, how he's like, yo, I don't want no part of this Edge. And he left on Monday, but then he came back to help Edge, but he had no intentions of putting his hands on Dom.
None.
I think there's a lot of story that could be told in a match like that. I think it could be interesting.
I'd like to see it as a triple threat simply because of that dynamic of Ray being the guy stood on the razor blade.
Yeah.
It's just he's going to cut himself regardless which way he goes, and it just depends on his own personal preference. So, go on.
No, he's conflicted to your observation there. I mean, to me, you could get a lot of emotional reaction and response from Ray, even though he's got a mask, just his body language, like you guys were talking about with Edge. That's what I like, when you can kind of tie the pieces together, but yet have different outcomes if you need to, because I feel like you do have more creative freedom that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So are we all good with writing this one down then? I just threw that one out of left field. I just popped in my head, but I really like it now that we've all talked about it.
No, I'm fine with that.
I'm going to go ahead and put that one
I'm
down.
good with it.
I think the next one is another kind of obvious one, but I don't know. We don't know where Johnny Gargano's at, but I'll just throw it up because it's in the chat as well. Yeah. Johnny Gargano versus Theory. We'll do the percentage here. Percentage-wise, how likely do you think this match is to happen? At
70%.
Okay.
I'd say it's a 70% chance of happening.
Gargano versus Theory.
I think it's got to, the way they're teasing it, with the confrontations and knowing their history in the way. I mean, that's what I love, kind of segueing the NXT story. Yeah. But now Theory's got all confident, which I'm happy for. I think he's great at it. But now Gargano's came back kind of stealing his thunder, so, Theory's got a problem with him doing that.
But if you have Johnny and Theory in this match, you don't want Theory to lose again because he's Mr. Money in the Bank. But Johnny cannot lose his first match on a pay-per-view for the main roster.
That's very good. I wasn't thinking.
Hey, here's the visible hand brought up a good one here. Gargano versus Theory, they put the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line. I'll go ahead and say we're going to throw a stipulation on this one and make it a ladder match, since Triple H loves them ladder matches.
Yeah, he does.
If Austin Theory is able to win this one, it kind of protects Johnny because he didn't take a pinfall loss here. He can lose a ladder match and it not be detrimental to his debut. Also, he's been gone 9 months, so there's the rust factor he can play into. He's got to build himself back up, the underdog story, which that's what Johnny does for Johnny Gargano.
That's what Johnny does.
You used some disguise.
Yeah, the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line. Again, if we're doing a ladder match, I think it's an interesting thing, and it plays to the story they've kind of been telling so far. The chances of Johnny Gargano winning this, in my opinion, I don't want it to be I don't want Johnny Gargano winning the Money in the Bank briefcase.
No, I don't.
Horrible booking.
Honestly, I don't want them to put the briefcase on the line in the match at all.
No.
But if they do, a ladder match is the safest way to do it.
Yeah.
I
just think if you put the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line here and Johnny Gargano wins, I think you're kind of sending a message to the roster. Hey, my guys are definitely more important than yours. If you're not already kind of saying that, you would definitely be saying, my guys are way more important than yours, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure they get the spots that you probably deserve.
Yeah.
Looking through all the nonsense and everything. I would absolutely hate Johnny Gargano to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I love Johnny. It's just it'd be such a horrible decision here.
Yeah, Theory deserves it because he's been this has really shined him up, having the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I'm still loving that Tyson Fury spot. I watched it back. That was fantastic when he came down to try to interfere, and Fury, just punched him. But of course, Theory sold it so well too.
Facts. So we're gonna just agree with that one too. Arson Theory versus Johnny Gargano. I'm gonna put a ladder match for now. We'll revisit all the matches at the end and look at stipulations and all that. But I think just because of the story they're telling, with Austin Theory having everything Johnny Gargano couldn't or hasn't done, and he's surpassed him, I think it kind of plays into it. So we've touched on Judgment Day. Usos did not defend at Clash at the Castle. I cannot see a scenario where they don't defend them at Extreme Rules. Unfortunately, I also don't see a viable contender for them at this moment in time.
Unfortunately, it's probably going to be the Street Profits. But I have an idea. What if it's not a title defense? What if it's a 6-man tag with the Street Profits and Kevin Owens against the Usos and Sami Zayn?
I'm listening.
Now, Sami and the Usos, that's easy enough to get to. Kevin has routinely, now I don't watch Raw as deeply as you do, Jim, but Kevin has routinely, for the past several weeks, made his intentions clear that regardless who came out of Clash at the Castle, he was next. He can't get to Roman because Roman's not at the show, but he can get to his cousins, who I'm assuming he's going to have to get through before he gets to Roman anyway. You set something, I'm not sure how they set it up on Raw, but SmackDown, it's an easy enough setup. Because Sami can be, they can set the match up. Whether the Street Profits are the only viable team I can see as Kevin's opponents because they keep jumping the Usos. Even though I'm sure there was a stipulation where they're not supposed to tag challenge for the tag belts again, but
it should be after 2 big time pay-per-view losses. I mean, that should be the nail in the coffin for them for the foreseeable future. I'm trying to think, because they did the number 1 contenders match on Raw, and it just got completely blown up by Braun Strowman. Thank goodness, because it didn't make any sense to have the New Day in it at all.
No, they haven't done anything.
No, they haven't.
I'm trying to figure out how we would get there. I'm not in love with the Street Profits being in this position. As
I say, I'm not in love with the Street Profits being in the position, but due to the fact that they attacked the Usos again last night on SmackDown, and they're a Raw team, it seems like the logical choice.
They're the Raw team too, and they're also tied up with the whole Maximum Male model stuff and the Hit Row. So I just don't know. What are the tag team? Because I see this one. Where is it? The Viking Raiders. Owens and Zayn. I don't think we touch Owens and Zayn until the storyline progresses. And with how much Zayn is having and how awesome it is, I don't think you rush it. I think you milk this one completely dry.
Yeah.
And that'll take a long time because Zayn is able to just carry these things.
I think their recipes for success, Owens and Zayn and Nick, that was a great idea. Gosh, you guys do your research. I'm lazy today. I just, I'll just be honest.
With these off the top of our head, man. That's
this ain't research, Tyler. I assure you.
Hey, it's great. I love it.
The Viking Raiders aren't ready. My only issue with the Viking Raiders and Usos is that heels.
Yeah.
I just don't know. And if you're building the Viking Raiders up, having them go in for failure this soon kind of just
doesn't make a lot of sense.
The Viking experience already. So, yeah, I think I like the 6-man. We got a bunch of singles matches here, so I think a 6-man actually is a good idea to kind of get some more people on the card. Man, I can't. Kevin Owens has missed the last 2 pay-per-views, hasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, we need to fix that. He's on this. I'm going to go ahead and say yes to this match.
Awesome.
I'll be curious if there's a way to get to it that intrigues me a little bit more.
Yeah.
Again, you got to sell me on the Street Profits again.
Yeah, it's difficult at this point.
Yeah.
And I hate that because they really have just started blossoming as far as their careers, you almost wonder, is it time for them to be singles eventually? After they build up, because they've done it so much on these feuds. They've had good matches, but when do you kind of say, well, there needs to be a turn or some kind of breakup to explain why they need to go their own ways?
Yeah, I do love them. I think they both have. I think they both could be big time singles players for the WWE. One main event, one mid card. I think we all know who that is. But that's not a knock on Dawkins at all. I think Dawkins is fantastic.
No, it's fantastic.
It's just something about him that's just kind of like the booking. I think is the problem is that they've done everything they can at this point. So throwing him in just kind of seems lazy. But yeah, I wrote that one down. So that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 2 more to come up with. Just to touch on these things real quick. Usos. The only thing with these that you're recommending with Roman is Roman won't be on the show. They already said he's not part of Extreme Rules. So anything with Roman, it's Dundada, Brooklyn. Sorry, bud. Tyson Fury versus Austin Theory. Man, I don't want to. Don't do that to Austin Theory. That's a Baron Corbin spot if I've ever seen one. Have Tyson Corbin. Baron Corbin. Knock some sense into him or something.
They can even wrap the Golden Gloves history into the match.
They could, and then Baron Corbin could be real cocky. He bets his entire house on being able to beat Tyson Fury. He loses, he goes back to bum ass Corbin, and there we go, full circle.
Which would be good, yeah.
Everybody's happy.
Fix it for you.
Now Sequoia, though, do you think he gets involved with McIntyre and Cross?
No,
I don't think they're going to push.
I just wondered.
Solo Drew. I think it was just a stopgap to get him.
I got you.
I'm going to go ahead and touch on that last one we just came with the 6-man. I think it's Solo and not Sammy involved. Okay. I think Sammy would find a way to weasel out because he doesn't want to confront Kevin Owens. He's still conflicted. That's part of the story they told on Raw.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not hit him with a chair. So I'm going to go ahead and substitute Sammy with Solo.
That's fine.
But Sammy is definitely at ringside playing some games here.
Yeah.
He'll mess with the Street Profits and mess with Kevin Owens. So that's where we'll go with that one. And it gives more time for that whole story to blossom. It would be great.
He's been so good with Roman, though, the interactions and the bloodline. Even if you're not able to watch it, you know that's the big headlines because everybody's buzzing about Sammy.
I think we're a little early on that one, but I do see that being a fantastic rivalry when the day finally comes.
Oh, yeah.
Brothers are the future of the tag team.
Yes, they are.
100%. And I see what you're saying. They've literally beat every tag team on the roster. There's one tag team they haven't beaten, and that's Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And when it does happen, they will lose 100%, and that's what is going to happen. That's how it shall be. It is written. Take it for what it is because that's what it's going to be. I've rambled on too long, but that's a fact. Hence why you need to cut the roster down. They've cut the roster down pretty good over the last 2 years.
Substantially.
And I think Triple H has done a fantastic job of just bringing in and kind of pushing out and then bringing someone back in. I think
not rushing it.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot more of that where they just kind of just rotate people in and rotate people out. I think
it's a direct feed system. Less is more.
We're going to see a lot more of that going forward, and I think we've already seen a little bit of it.
Because you can overexpose talent.
Yes.
So that's how they used to operate things in the 80s.
Yeah.
Everyone would get pulled in and
out. Territory system. That's how it worked. That's how it operated. So for the next match, I'm going to we got to come up with a match for Bobby Lashley here. I think if the mid-card titles are as big a deal as they were trying to make them to be, and you're giving the spotlight to Gunther, you have to do the same for Bobby Lashley. He can't just be defending on Raw every week. Get him on a pay-per-view. Who you guys got in mind for old Bobby?
Bobby's still technically a face, right?
Yep.
He's already beat Champa. He's already beat Miz twice.
Yep.
Dolph's
babyface though right now.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, that's true. That would make it tough.
AJ's a babyface.
You could do it babyface. You could have like a elimination match where the number one contender comes up, and you could do babyface where one turns heel. I don't want us to be constructed in this idea that it has to be a heel because, again, face versus face does work from time to time, and they can be used to drive things.
This one's tough.
AJ's technically wrapped up in that whole situation, isn't he?
Yeah, this is another one of those situations where there's so much things involved. It's hard to figure out where they're going with it. which is a great thing. It's 100%
Yeah.
great. I don't want people to think I'm shitting on it. I love it. It's great.
No, it's not predictable, which makes a change.
Yeah, you got Bobby Lashley versus Dexter Lumis. I don't know if you do it with Dexter so soon,
Not
but
yet.
I don't think it's I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility with how everything is literally entangled
Revolving
with
around Dexter.
everything. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, he's a centerpiece. This is a tough one because you like all the directions they can go, but you're trying to see who would fit with Bobby for this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Here we go. We got this one. AJ versus Champa versus Bobby Lashley in a triple threat. I think that's interesting because
I like
the
that
match
idea.
that Bobby had with Champa was just
Tremendous.
AJ. We already know what AJ does. My only thing with this is 2 triple threats on one card. I don't think that's a WWE move, and it shouldn't be. I think you can't riddle cards with multiple 6-mans and multiple triple threats and things like that. I think it kind of puts a damper on the more important ones.
What about
Takes
Bobby
away.
Braun?
Who?
Ooh, Bobby
Braun.
and Braun. Yeah, Braun Strowman.
If I'm going off rumors, Braun is apparently a babyface on SmackDown. I'm not against Braun here, but again, do you have Bobby Lashley lose to Braun here? Because Braun's not losing anytime soon.
No, that's a good
Not
point.
anytime
He did just destroy the entire tag division in 2 days.
This is a very tough situation. I hate it for Bobby. I really do.
So do I.
But I hope they can find a way to figure it
There
out.
has to be somebody.
Yeah.
Got to be, but it's so
Finn
challenging to find.
What's
yeah,
that?
Balor?
Finn Balor.
Possibly.
Judgment Day don't seem to be able to do it. I know they're tied up with the Mysterio situation, but
yeah, I don't think you'll see them branching off into 2 separate ways, though. I think wherever you see Dom, you'll see Finn, Damian, and
that makes sense.
What
I'm
about
perplexed.
a 4-way? I know we do have a triple threat. We don't have a 4-way. Dexter, Bobby, Miz, Champa.
That might be pretty good.
What about AJ, Bobby, Miz, Champa? Keep Dexter Lumis out of the match.
That's fair. That's fair because I don't know if you put Dexter in a match yet. That's fair.
Maybe just keep him, doing what he's been doing, where he may cause a distraction.
So I think there's a more likely possibility that we have a multi-man match with the United States title than we have the triple threat match. The triple threat match will more than likely be a tag team. We just
I'd agree with that
because we don't want to be the same as everything else. But
I think AJ, Bobby, Champa, and Miz is probably your best bet for the guys that are available on Raw.
Let's see. I don't know if you put 2 Miz and Champa in the match together. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Dolph,
because then it turns into a 2-on-2 thing, and
you definitely either way
take Champa out, put Dolph in.
Yeah, maybe. I'm thinking of work rate too.
I think maybe
what you guys are choosing.
I'll take Miz out. Miz has already lost 2
Miz
titles.
out.
He's already lost 2 title shots.
This is a tough one.
No, it's very hard, and it gets the wheel spinning. I'm trying to think and think of who's available that would work in that situation.
Think of what's happening on Raw and who could step up here. I just don't think.
My issue, I haven't been able to watch enough Raw and SmackDown. Like I've been honest with you guys, just reading about it. I definitely follow it, but I just that definitely helps you because I'm trying to piece together who would make sense for Bobby, and I don't know that you wouldn't put him over. Still.
Yeah, Ty, we got KO in the 6-man though with Street Profits taking on the Usos and Solo. So KO doesn't work here. You know what? Screw the rules. I think we can do 2 triple threats. Because, again, I think we all agree that the other one probably isn't going to happen. It's just something we would like to happen more so than
yeah.
So, Bobby Lashley versus AJ versus Champa?
Yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd
That'll
still
be
a good match.
It'd be the best match of the ones we could put on.
And during all this, Miz is kidnapped and we don't know where he's at. So, Champa is like, whoa.
They can do vignettes backstage all night of Champa looking for Miz.
That'd be fantastic.
I like that. And now for the final match, it has to go to the women's title. Do you see it being Bayley at Extreme Rules?
Yeah. Mind you, I don't know. Bailey said it's on her time.
Okay, so let me rewind a little bit. Do you think Dakota and Io win the tag titles on Monday night?
Yes. Honestly, I don't think the Aaliyah Raquel plan was a long-term thing.
No more Omos.
No.
Who's back at the performance
Please
center.
not.
I don't think Rhea and I don't think the Leah and Raquel keeping the titles was a long-term plan. I think it was supposed to go to Toxic Attraction on Io and Dakota, and that's the feud they were going to do coming out of the tournament. But unfortunately, Gigi got hurt. I believe she's fine again now because they
she was on SmackDown. Oh, yeah, she was on SmackDown. That's right.
Because they wrestled on SmackDown. So for me, it makes sense to go into the feud of Toxic Attraction, bringing up Mandy Rose to go against Damage Control, whatever they're called.
Okay, just to touch on that real quick. Toxic Attraction baby faces?
Yeah.
Hey,
they're cool enough to do it. They're cool enough to do it.
They're definitely cool enough. I think the Mandy Rose factor. As a face, she is very boring.
I kind of like them as heels.
They don't have to change the person. Austin proved you don't have to change your personality to become a babyface. And with Triple H in charge, it's not as likely that he will change somebody's personality to make him a babyface.
I think if you want people...
And Mandy wrestled babyface at Worlds Collide.
Bailey is clearly a heel, and people clearly love her. So in order to get people behind Toxic Attraction, I think you have to have that appeal to you. Mm-hmm. I know they have an appeal to a certain fan base. I don't know if that is enough to...
Oh, yes, they do.
Invested over Bailey. That's my whole thing there.
No, I don't think I'm getting invested over Bailey. But if you bring Mandy up while she's the double champion to go against Bailey, who is a champion, and if you have the tag titles on Io and Dakota and the world title on Bailey versus Toxic Attraction, one of them's already got 2 belts. That's a very enticing situation.
I was going to ask you guys. Quit checking my direct messages. I'm one of those people that Mandy Rose is.
You do what you do, man. You do what you do.
I was coming at it from more of a comedic booking because when you guys said that, I'm like, oh, they've busted me, because I've been bad about,
You do you, man. I'm going to go ahead and stop it from spiraling. Well, that's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
Back to the top. Back to the regularly scheduled program, Extreme Rules. Bianca. I think it's early to do Bailey. But I don't see who else you do besides Bailey right now.
Not do I.
Especially if Io and Dakota win the titles. I was going to say if they don't win the titles, you could do a Bianca versus Io match at Extreme Rules to where Bailey's like, you got to take on my girls before I even waste my time with you. That way
she could still do on Raw.
Yeah, because then...
I like that.
Then it can go into Survivor Series. You have a Team Bailey versus Team Bianca thing. And you could really stretch this out and make it kind of a big moment when Bailey finally does beat her. I just don't see how else. I don't see how else you do it if they win the tag titles though. So
I think that's the problem.
Yeah. I think we do see Bailey and Bianca at Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
And since Bailey is still kind of getting her wheels underneath her and she's getting the rust off, I think a no DQ match here helps her because it could disguise some of the things that she's slowly picking back up on. Use some weapons and instead of the non-stop matches that we've seen her do with Sasha, in which she would run circles around Bianca, and that's not a knock on Bianca. I just think Bailey's that damn good.
Bailey's an amazing wrestler.
Yeah, Bailey's wonderful, and she's one of the top ladies. I mean, with Sasha gone and then Charlotte not coming back yet, and Becky injured. I mean, who else do you really? I mean, what you guys were pointing out.
She's the last of the horsewomen.
We all know how much I praise and love Becky, but I think Bailey is overall the best of the 4 horsewomen from top to bottom. I think she's much better in the ring, and she's neck and neck with her with character work. But
it's hard to argue.
I think I'm gonna have to go Becky Bianca. I personally am gonna say Becky Bianca, or Bailey Bianca. I'm stuck on the Becky thing now. Thanks a lot. I'm gonna say Bailey Bianca unless someone can sell me on something else.
No, I think you're right up the street. I don't see why they wouldn't do it after they already had Bailey pin Bianca at Clash.
What if Bailey Bianca for the Raw Women's Championship? Mandy comes out. So I think Mandy Rose has to lose her title before we see her on the main roster. unless it's a Survivor Series and they involve NXT, which I hope they don't this year because I don't think it makes much sense. But
the NXT roster's not strong enough
it's
anyway.
not even close to being able to compete with.
Yeah, it's not the same as it was.
Yeah. So if Mandy Rose can lose her title before then, I have no issue with Toxic Attraction showing up after this match and going after Bayley when she wins, because I don't think Bayley would lose this match. Which would be cool. It would give us a moment, and I'm not against that. Bayley will either win the title. Come on, man. I hate this clicker. Win the title either Extreme Rules or Crown Jewel. I think at this point, I think she wins at Extreme Rules, and then she beats Bianca again at Crown Jewel in a rematch. That's what I think is happening here. So that's our card. We'll run it down real quick from top to bottom. We don't know the order, obviously, because we don't even know the card. But we got, give me 1 second. I didn't write this one down yet. Bianca. You got Bayley versus Bianca for the Raw Women's title. And as I was saying, I think a no DQ match here kind of helps.
Yeah.
It helps disguise some of the stuff that Bayley hasn't gotten back yet.
Yeah, that's true.
She's getting there. I just don't think she's back to 100% what we're used to.
That takes time.
Yeah. Bobby Lashley versus Champa versus AJ Styles in a triple threat, which automatically makes it no DQ, so you don't have to throw on
some no gimmick needed
to it. So that's cool. I like that. Didn't even think about that.
That's good.
Street Profits and Kevin Owens versus the Usos and Solo Sikoa with Sami Zayn at ringside in a 6-man match. No need for crazy rules here. I think a 6-man match. WWE does 6-man matches better than almost anything else they do. They're so damn good, so damn entertaining. It kind of makes me sad that they didn't go in on the whole trios championships back then.
Yeah.
Wyatts and Shields going. That was so freaking New Day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you had a lot of options.
Yeah, and they had such great matches. What we got here? Let's see what's gotten stronger. I know I watched it next year. Yeah, next year I'm okay with it because next year you'll have established people that can come up, and I'm 100% for. I just don't think they're there yet. Tidy. That's not me crapping on NXT. I promise.
No, it's become
I know that's
a
my
better
MO
show.
these days, but I promise you I'm not crapping on them right now.
It's become a better show. It's just their roster is not yet strong enough to compete with Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
They don't have enough big enough
You're gonna put
established
Braun
stars.
Breaker in there with Roman Reigns? No. I'm sorry. No. Carmelo Hayes is like the only guy I could see showing up at a Survivor Series and hanging with anybody at this point.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth of it.
Yeah, he's been impressive.
So then we have Austin Theory versus Johnny Gargano. I like the idea of the ladder match for the Money in the Bank briefcase, just as long as it's not Johnny Gargano winning it. Rey Mysterio versus Dom versus Edge, another triple threat, so no gimmick needed. Story, though. The story involved with this match would... I know Dom's in it, so it's hard to sell this idea, but I think it could be a match of the night with the story that's involved with it.
It's
and
got
two
potential.
veterans like Rey and Edge.
It's got real potential.
I think it could be really fun. And if I'm looking at these of the ones we came up with, I hope that's the one that does happen.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think that's a really good one. Gunther versus Sheamus in a rematch for the IC title. No gimmick needed. They are violence personified.
Right. Glorious wrestling violence, to quote John.
Yeah,
Watson.
be a great match.
Yeah. Liv versus Rhonda for the Smackdown title. No gimmick needed because Rhonda just needs to beat the holy piss out of her.
Yep, that's it.
But I don't
Yeah,
want
the parade's over.
I don't want her to win the title, though. So it's like, man, this is my least favorite match just because I don't want either one of them to win it.
Yeah, this is the problem.
I'm enjoying Ronda Rousey. This is something I never thought I would be saying to anybody in a serious manner. I'm enjoying Ronda Rousey right now because she's not involved with the title. I think she's doing much better work. So if she can transition that into the title holder, okay, I'll give it a chance, I guess. But, man.
Do you think she's enjoying herself better? I think it shows.
She said she has. She said she really likes doing this away from the title because it allows her, I guess, a little bit more freedom.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's a possibility here. Do we think Charlotte shows up at Extreme Rules?
Yeah.
You don't think so?
No, not yet. I don't think Extreme Rules in Charlotte's had a big enough show for her.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be bigger.
I'll just ask this. I'll revise the question since this is a show that I've asked about percentages a lot. Which one do you think is more likely? A Sasha Banks and Naomi return or a Charlotte return?
Sasha and Naomi.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I think for Sasha and Naomi, you could talk about with Extreme Rules, they could cause some major problems.
Oh, that's a really good angle you could write in. So Bailey is wrestling Bianca.
Mm-hmm.
Damage Control keep getting involved. Then whose music hits? Come get rid of me.
Then
as
you
long
have
as they're tag titles holders.
Then you have groundwork for a Survivor Series match between the two. They just have to find 2 more people apiece. So,
Exactly.
You know what? Boom. Thank you very much, Tyler. Good idea. Thank you very much.
No, and your guys help and their history. Think about it. It makes sense. You know, they're rivals, but you can turn them back to being allies.
Sasha and Bailey fight forever. Nobody's going to complain.
No one's going to.
Yeah, nobody.
And then we have the final 2 matches. We don't know which one main events. I'm going to go ahead and say Riddle versus Rollins main events just because it has more history and more. It has more potential just to completely overshadow everything else.
As my dad would say, there's more panache to the match.
There you go. There's more meat on the bone. That's the saying we have over here in El Americano. And then Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross, which I hope they can get me more interest. I'm interested because Karrion Kross, but it just seems like it's Karrion Kross attacks Drew, Karrion Kross attacks Drew, Karrion Kross attacks Drew. I want some
actual story.
Yeah.
Need something else, yeah.
Give me something a little bit more. I've enjoyed Karrion Kross's promos. I don't know what it is. I just don't think there's something that's hooked me yet. Gargano versus AJ would be one of a contest. We'd love to see that. That could be a WrestleMania match for you, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Because at this point, AJ Styles wants the matches he's never had at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good one. We want Adam Cole back in WWE. Let me just go ahead and go on record as saying this right now. I do not. I think WWE is loaded right now, and I think Adam Cole is fine where he's at for the time being.
I'd agree with
I know that's a shocking thing to hear me of all people say. I think he's better off in AEW for the time being. That's just me.
I think WWE can utilize their talent better without needing all those other wrestlers.
Sasha and Naomi returned prior to Extreme Rules. It's a possibility. If you listen to Zero News, it happened 2 weeks ago, and they ran out of time. So poor Sasha. Anyway, so the 3 matches we got stipulations for. Again, the Riddle versus Rollins has to be a street fight. It just has to be. The Austin Theory Gargano ladder match.
Yeah.
If the Money in the Bank briefcase comes into play, that's the way to do it 100%.
And
then the Bailey versus Bianca no DQ, because the women have to get some of this action as well, and it helps Bailey. So
it does.
We've done 2 of these, I think, Nick. I think you and me have done 2 of them. I think this is the best card we've put together.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I don't think we can credit Tyler enough for that. I think Tyler helped piece this together.
You guys are kind.
And say, no, it was you guys, but no, Tyler, you definitely helped make this possible.
Yes, you did, sir. There was lots of help.
Well, I learn something all the time on these because it's very interesting how you could book these kind of things.
So let us know in the comments what you thought. Again, I think this is a great card. Where's this at? We'll upload these card craves tomorrow on our Twitter page. I'll get that to you when we're done. But yes, for anybody watching that's tuned in late and you're like, oh, I can't watch the whole video, just tune in tomorrow on the Wrestle Buddy Twitter page and we'll have
everything
the graphics for you, all professional and stuff, because the Invisible Hand does not sleep. He only knows work.
He doesn't.
Sleeps less than me.
So with that, anything you want to say to the people? You want to plug to the people? I know we got the Buddy Wars coming up. Conspiracy theory going on, but that's for another day.
Ladies and gentlemen, Buddy Wars, as you know, has been running on Monday nights for the past few weeks. And Jimmy is at the moment in part of what he considers a giant conspiracy because of scheduling conflicts.
There's a movie coming out for it. I got the trailer ready.
Unfortunately, we will not be having a Buddy Wars this Monday as I am going to Scotland. So, Tyler, I am pleased to announce, as of right now, you have been given a bye into the semi-finals. You will be facing the winner of either Dan or the captain, depending on who comes out as the victor of their poll. The reason that Tyler is getting a bye into the finals is Tyler's opponent had work scheduling conflicts, and we were unable to come together on a time to do the show. So, Tyler, congratulations. You are now a semi-finalist in Body Wars alongside Jimmy, Matty, and whoever wins out of the captain and Dan. That will be the semi-finals. The semi-finals will take place in 3 weeks on Monday night at 7 p.m. The first semi-final, Jim, will be yourself versus Matty.
I'm looking forward to that.
Anything else you want to say,
no.
Mr. Conspirer?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we do here at WrestleBuddy, if you enjoy the content we put out, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. It really helps us out. It's the only way the YouTube algorithm really knows we exist, and it's free, so it doesn't cost you anything. Just please subscribe. Ignore this man. Ignore him right now.
Here's your sign.
Concentrate on subscribing to the channel. Subscribing to the channel is the best thing you can possibly do. Subscribe to watch Buddy Wars. It's a fantastic show. It's just amazing to see these guys go at each other in a fancy booking ring while I sit there and gloat. It's a fantastic show. Jim, I'm sure you will do
It's
fine.
amazing.
Oh, and Tyler, so you know, your semi-final will be the same booking that you have already done, and I will give your opponent another week a chance to prepare.
Yeah, that's fair. And I was looking forward to it, but things happen, just like in wrestling. You never know. I was actually. I'm gonna not say too much. I'm getting attorneys involved.
Things happen.
So yeah.
Card is subject to change, gentlemen.
You damn right they are. They're trying to. They knew this. They knew they had no chance against me in a booking war. They knew it was done data from the beginning.
Jimmy, I don't understand. You are going up against the guy who lost. How is it a conspiracy? If you were going up against Simon, who unfortunately couldn't continue in Buddy Wars because of scheduling conflict, I can understand. He was the winner of the tournament.
Not everything has to make sense, Nick. Not everything has to make sense. Who ordered the hit? You know who ordered the hit. It's the man running the show. He got beef. He got beef. That's fine with me. Also, before we go, tomorrow our new website goes up. Anybody that has been following along, the Geek Buddy website will be going up, full of plenty of content to fill up your entire day, maybe even your week. So if you enjoy what we do here on WrestleBuddy and you're into movies, anime, video games, any of the multimedia stuff, any of the stuff like that, check out Geek Buddy. We're gonna have some more of that for you. Just different platform.
If you are a nerd like me, you will thoroughly enjoy Geek Buddy. It is designed for people who are nerds in mind. It's going to be just fantastic.
You hear a small violin?
I can't wait.
Well, I'm gonna shine that sumbitch up real nice, turn it sideways, and stick it straight up your Rudy Poo. You know the rest. If you're able to make it to the finals there, Mr. Capitan, which ain't gonna happen, but that's okay, because if it does, you already know what it's gonna be, and that's a fact. What you got? I love anime. Yes, definitely check it out, Tidy. I know you love anime. We got plenty of anime content for you already.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
You will be good to go. It's designed for me. I think there's a few video game things. I'll have a few movie articles out as well. So there will be plenty for you to check out on the Geek Buddy website. Go ahead, Nick.
Last but not least, in 3 weeks' time on Friday, I will be starting the SmackDown Live reviews.
Incredible. Yeah.
Okay. So now the King will be doing Monday nights and I will be doing Friday nights. Please tune in to both. I'm not sure I can compete with the man's charisma, but I shall do my best.
He'll break the matches down better than I do. I can guarantee you that much. If you like what Andy did, you're going to like what Nick does. I can promise you that much. I will go ahead and gloat on myself. They cannot match the charisma of the King. They can try. They will fail. Much like everybody left in the Buddy Wars. Even though it's a conspiracy against me, you shall all fall. Tyler, anything you want to plug before we go? We're in the last minute of the race.
Yeah, I want to plug the Rewind Wrestling Radio podcast, and of course, Back When with Danny Tyler. I got to shout out to all these podcasts, including WrestleBuddy. You guys, it's been amazing. Your shows are going to be 10 stars. Forget Meltzer's rating. It's going to be great. I think
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm probably forgetting somebody, so forgive me. You know, you can block me on Twitter later. But anyways, I was going to tell you that
regularly scheduled hostilities.
yeah, there you go. RSH. I've got a good plug. Our buddy Josh at Wrestle Buddy as well. Great show, and that's really it. And I'm sure I'll remember somebody next month. You know, so there we go.
So with that, yes, Raw Recap, that's where I'll be. Drip King of Wrestling on YouTube. That's my channel that I have some other good wrestling content for you. I try to post shorts daily for you. It's all in good fun. So if you want to laugh, laugh. If you want to call me stupid, call me stupid. That's where you can do it at. Unfortunately, no Dynamite recaps going forward for the time being. Hopefully that day comes back. Just, it ain't working for me right now. And if you know anything about me, if I'm not having fun, I'm not going to watch it. That's the way I do it. That's the way I hoped everyone else would do it. Hopefully one day we get there. Probably not. But with that, thank you guys for joining us. It was a very good time. We put together a fantastic card. I expect all three of us to be getting a phone call from Papa H sometime this week.
Yeah.
And if he only calls me, I'm sorry for you. But with that, it's time to say goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. And we will see you probably tomorrow with the news review from the weekend. There was a juicy one. So, yeah, you'll see us again tomorrow. Goodbye.